You're live.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining our second session of the COVID Business Crisis Management webinar. Our focus today will be giving an update on a couple of things on the PPP loan, as well as the additional loans such as the EIDL, which is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, and then some other new ways for us to gain capital as business owners. So with that, can we go to the next slide, please? With that, I'd like to be able to say thank you again to our sponsors, the Michael Ferrer Group, Dub Value Creation, US Bank, and then also, of course, the Los Angeles Urban League for hosting this. Let's turn it over to Michael Lawson, who's the president of the Los Angeles Urban League, to give a few words prior to beginning the series. Michael?
Thank you, Jonathan. I'm really pleased to see that we're continuing on with this webinar series. It's very important, and I want to thank you, Jonathan and Candace, as our board members, for spearheading this. This is very important and very impactful for the constituents and the clients that we have, and for all of the people of the County of Los Angeles, which is our jurisdiction. Thank you again for your expertise. Thank all the panelists for the wisdom that you're going to present in this program this evening. And I want to thank you again for taking the time out to do this important work. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right. So I'd like to introduce the panelists. So we have three panelists today that are going to be talking about the topics for today. The first one being Cesar Hernandez. He is the Vice President of Business Banking Sales Manager for US Bank. He'll be focused a lot on the PPP process and any updates around that. Then we have Sebastian De Vivo, and he is a consultant advisor with Bixel Exchange. And then we have Armand Santos, and he's Director of Community Business Founder. He's a founder for the Digital Enterprise Network. So Sebastian will be talking a lot about the EIDL, as well as a few other financial opportunities, any updates around that. And then Armand will walk us through more of the digital marketing and how you can actually move your business within this COVID-19 period. So with that said, Cesar, I'd love to be able to get your thoughts. First of all, maybe we should have a brief overview or remind people of what the PPP is, and then go into details around maybe what's changed since we last talked. I think you're on mute, Cesar.
I was on mute. So thanks again, Jonathan, and thanks to the Urban League for hosting this webinar. But going over the Paycheck Protection Program, I know a lot of information has been out in the news and kind of talks out there about what PPP is. Originally, there was $349 billion that were issued by SBA for forgivable loans to small businesses to pay for employees during this COVID-19 crisis. That original funds obviously were exhausted about a week or two into the program's outset. The loan terms for that Paycheck Protection Program are as follows. All loans have payments that are deferred for 6 months. So if you do have to make a payment, you wouldn't do that for the first 6 months after it's funded. Interest rate on those loans are 1%, and there is a repayment term of 2 years. No collateral required, as the SBA is providing 100% guarantee for these loans through the banks. These loans are able to be forgivable for most folks, as long as the proceeds are used to cover payroll and some mortgage, interest, rent, and utilities over the 8-week period following the funding of this loan. Important to note that at least 75% of the loan must be used for payroll purposes in order for you to qualify for a forgivable loan. I know there was questions, what does forgivable means? You wouldn't have to pay back that loan as long as you're spending about 75% or more on your payroll cost. Now, I know, again, I mentioned that the initial $349 billion was already exhausted through that program, but as many of you may have heard, Congress has recently signed additional stimulus package that funded some additional funds into the program. And that's the update that I'd like to kind of go over next, if that's okay with the next slide, please. So $310 billion in new funding has been allocated to the program, and with $60 billion set aside specifically to smaller banks and credit unions. And the idea there is to get that funds to folks that are traditionally underserved by more like traditional banks, maybe larger banks, right? So smaller communities, smaller local regional banks, for folks that may not have relationships with the larger institutions. As of the 27th, SBA began accepting applications. Initially, there was a flood of applications from folks that were not able to take advantage of the initial $349 billion. So the E-Trans system, where it's the SBA is accepting processing of these loans, did experience some kind of technical issues because it's just kind of servers overloading from the surge of applications. There has been new guidance issued by the Treasury on eligibility because of some questions that came up from the initial allocation of funds. Very specific to exclude certain businesses. So for instance, hedge funds and private equity firms are ineligible to receive funding. Government-owned hospitals are eligible if the hospital receives less than 50% of its funding from the state or local government. Any business that's presently involved in bankruptcy isn't eligible for a loan. This would be for any business that started their bankruptcy process during or before this paycheck protection kind of time frame. PPP applicants are required now to certify that current economic uncertainty makes this loan request necessary to support the ongoing operations of the applicant. So essentially, companies must certify that they cannot tap other sources of funding. What this is essentially doing is excluding larger companies or firms that have other access to capital, such as publicly traded companies have access to capital markets. They would be excluded from funding. You probably heard some talks of some of the larger firms that were returning funds to the program, and this last certification that's very new is a result of some of that uncertainty there. So that's important to note, that some of the larger companies and firms are going to be excluded from funding. So that's the latest, greatest on paycheck protection. I know there's still some questions out there, and I'd be glad to answer. Funding is ongoing. I know Sebastian was talking to a client right before we logged on here. Applications are going through the E-Trans system. All banks are able to now submit their applications, and we're seeing funding happening. Most banks are still accepting applications. So if you haven't submitted an application yet, please reach out to your bank or local community bank or credit union to submit an application as soon as possible.
Sorry, Cesar. One question for you. So,
sure.
As we've heard a lot about the news, and we've been watching different things, and lately there's been a prioritization for smaller banks to submit loans for their customers. How might that impact a larger bank like a U.S. bank, I guess? So are the people that submitted PPPs prior to last week or 2 weeks ago, are they still in the queue and they're still able to get submitted? How's that going to work?
Yes, it's definitely all still on a first come, first served basis. We are all submitting to the E-Trans system. Yes, the smaller banks have been prioritized, but again, there was specific dollars that were allocated for that segment of the companies. we did see some initial kind of issues with the E-Tran system when kind of everybody kind of rushed to submit their applications, but from my understanding, that's all been resolved. Folks that were already in the queue prior to the initial 349 billion being exhausted were already set to move into that queue, and that's happening now. And then the clients that are now submitting their new applications are being added to that queue. We've steadily seen an uptick in funding in the last week or so, and we still continue to process applications.
Great. And what are you telling your clients just in terms of timing? So when they should be able to expect from the time they submit their PPP application to the time that they should receive the funds in the second round?
Yep. Well, the initial round, obviously it took a couple weeks for folks to receive funding. With the new set of clients, we're seeing that it's taking approximately 5 to 7 days from start to finish to get to the E-Tran number. And then once we get that, we should be receiving funding within 24, sometimes 48 hours once we receive that guidance from SBA. And that's just a matter of us being able to draw loan documents and get that funded. If we have clients that have existing relationships, it's easy to fund the money to them next day. So start to finish, we're looking at about 7 to 10 business days.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Now to continue with the...
Okay, so thank you. Just wanted to give some thought into, post paycheck protection. I know that's still something that we have very fluid, and we'll touch on some of these. And if we have, kind of a future webinar, we can go into detail on some of these items. I just want to kind of put it for some food for thought that, once this round of paycheck protection is through and folks receive funding, we want to give some thought into what we do as business owners for future cash flow management, right? There's other avenues and different resources that we can think of. First and foremost, we always think about finance as an option, right? We want a loan or line of credit. I'd like to give some thought, and Armand, I know you're going to talk about some digital applications that folks should consider. Accessing your income, assessing your income sources is your income source of revenue coming in is important, and how you're obtaining payment and how quickly you're serving to your clients, right? So a lot of businesses we see right now are pivoting their business model and looking at, what they're doing online as far as online ordering. So, getting to your clients quicker through, online applications, receiving payment options through credit card if you're not already doing that, processing electronic payments through ACH processing, billing through electronic invoicing. So you're able to bill your clients through an electronic invoice. They can click on that and pay you immediately. Remote check deposits. So you have folks that pay you with checks. So you're able to deposit from the comfort of your own home while you're socially distancing there. So those are things that you can do to improve your cash flow and get access to your funds quicker, right? And these are all things that your bank has the ability to do. A lot of the banks now are kind of focusing on working with their clients on how they can adjust their models so that they can have access to your cash quicker, right, so to speak. But there are other forms of financing if you still feel like you want to take a look at some options for cash flow, and if you want to have some be able to leverage some of the loans and lines of credit the banks offer. Operating lines of credit are still a great way to do that. Banks have ways of having lines of credit to operate your cash flow management and having them secured through all sorts of different collateral, or unsecured if you have no collateral available, or if that's already tied up with some other financing. Those are available traditionally through banks, right? Working capital loans secured through your general business asset. So if you don't have necessarily hard collateral like inventory or account receivables and things, banks have the ability to use your kind of business goodwill as a general business asset and still be able to lend you some funds for working capital. And you could use that for just about anything that you can think of. payroll one of them. If you need, to purchase inventory, raw materials, these are all things that you can use with a working capital loan. And a business credit card, sometimes we overlook that. That's a great option to cover payroll sometimes in some cases. It is a little bit more expensive form of lending, but it's definitely something viable that you can use for financing. And most banks also offer alternative financing, or they partner with companies that offer alternative financing, such as invoice factoring. So if you have invoices or account receivables out there that you're offering terms on of 30, 60-day terms, you're able to factor those and get advances on invoices that you have outstanding. If you're already purchasing or taking purchases through merchant card processing, you're able to also take advances on that. So there's loans and lines of credit available that you can leverage your merchant processing, and most banks have that available. There are also revenue-based loans for folks that maybe have some credit challenges. There's loans that are available just on the basis of your cash flow. So looking at what your available revenue is, and we can lend based off of that. We also offer loans for inventory financing and asset-based loans, where you have specific collateral that we can use, such as equipment, real estate, like I said, inventory, in some cases raw material, that we can use to use it as a collateral for a loan. So just, again, I wanted to just food for thought on that, that there are other forms of financing available through banks and other institutions. So post PPP, I kind of urge folks to take a look at the revenue streams you have. How much revenue are you possibly down in some cases, and how are you planning to maintain your current business? And obviously financing is a great way to either float some time between receivables. So keep in mind that there are options out there for you.
Great.
Cesar, thank you so much. I'm just going to jump in here. There was a question that came up, and I think you clarified the first one or answered in terms of if you sent an application in for the first round, is it still good? I believe you said that it is, correct?
It is, correct.
Perfect. And the question, though, was how to check on the status of that.
Well, it will depend on how you submitted it. So if you submit it through your bank, they should have a way to verify if they've had an E-Tran number already assigned to your application. If it hasn't, then there could be the possibility that the loan is still in process with your bank. So then there could be some documentation that might be missing, or it could just be a technical issue that you have to work through. But it's important that you follow up with whomever you submitted that application so you can know where you're at in the queue.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael, do you have any additional questions that you wanted to share, that perspective maybe? Michael Lawson? Okay. So at this stage, what we'll do is we'll move on then to Sebastian. Sebastian again, and Cesar, thank you again for your comments around the PPP. And then Sebastian, thank you for joining us to talk about the EIDL loan as well as other opportunities as well. So maybe you can walk us through this summary slide on what the EIDL is, just to remind people on what that is, and then maybe go through some changes that you have witnessed or understand to be true at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jonathan, and thank you to the Urban League for putting this together. So as Jonathan mentioned, the EIDL is the Emergency Injury Disaster Loan. It is a program administered directly by the SBA. So unlike the PPP, which Cesar was talking about, which you apply for through a bank, this EIDL product you have to get directly from the SBA. Now it's a loan, it's not forgivable. As of right now, we don't expect that it will be forgivable. It has a 3.75% interest rate over 30 years. So it's designed to be very easy on your cash flow because the payment is very low given the longer repayment period. Nonprofits are eligible to apply. Their interest rate is 2.75%, so it's lower than for-profits. Because it's a traditional SBA period, it does carry a personal guarantee if it's over 200,000. What that means is that you personally, with your own credit, guarantee repayment of the loan, even though the loan is made to your business, which is a separate entity. Originally, they were looking at credit scores. They're not doing that anymore. The SBA will run your credit check on you, but that's in order to verify your identity. It's not to pull your score or determine if you qualify based on their risk profile. And then it's a loan up to $2 million. The loan amount is set by the SBA directly. The way they've been doing it thus far is they'll look at the last 6 months of revenue, so top line revenue, and they'll set that at the loan amount. They will deduct your cost of goods sold, your cost of sales. That's part of the application process, and that will count against the loan amount. For people that qualify for the higher amount, like 2 million, we have seen it capped at 500,000 since it was originally an allocation of $10 billion for these loans. As soon as they started getting up there, they started capping it at 500,000. So several companies that we were helping that qualified for the 2 million based on their revenue were only receiving 500,000. Now, in terms of what you can expect when you apply for this one, ideally you've already applied. They started taking applications March 9th. At that point, it was the original application, so you had to upload a set of documents along with your application request. That system crashed on the 26th. However, we're using a loan submitted on the 9th as our benchmark for how long we can expect it to take. A loan that was submitted on the 9th of March was approved on the 21st, and that approval came as an email from a case manager at the SBA, followed by a phone call. Once the approval came through, the loan goes to the legal department so that they can issue the loan documents. In the case of our benchmark, this took about 2 weeks. So the approval was March 21st. The loans were issued April 8th. And then after that, they issue the loan docs. You sign them, and you're supposed to mail the documents back. So that, that obviously slows down the process. And following that, it's just a matter of waiting for the approval. Sorry, for the wire. And in this case, this benchmark loan, the approval came through, the wire came through on the 26th. So you're looking at about a 6-week process at the best case scenario. Obviously, as we know, it was originally $10 billion. Those were depleted fairly quickly. As part of the second allocation that they did, there's 50 billion, so it's a much higher amount, which increases the likelihood that more people will get it. It also includes an advance. The advance is $1,000 per employee, up to $10,000. It's a grant, so they give you the money. Often it's the first thing you see from the SBA after you apply. So no phone call, no email, no approval. All of a sudden there's money in your account that the SBA deposited. That is forgivable. It's your money. It's a grant. You don't have to pay it back. If you're declined for the EIDL or you don't take it, you still get to keep that money. And for this advance, the allocation of the advances, there's an extra 10 billion as part of the new bill that Congress signed. So we have 50 billion for the loans and 10 billion for the advances. And if we can go to the next slide.
We have a plethora of questions, but we'll save those questions for just after he finishes the next slide. So
Okay, so
continue.
an update on the EIDL, they're not taking applications anymore. They stopped taking applications once the 10 billion were depleted. So as of today, and this can change, they're saying that they're going through the loans that are still in their queue for the new appropriation. So for the extra 50 billion, they will open up the platform for more applications later on. We don't know when. You just have to keep an eye out and be ready. The application itself is quite simple. So, once you log on, the only three things that you really need to know are your 2019 revenues, your 2019 cost of goods, and then the number of employees that you have, that you had as of February 15th or March 1st. So other than that, all you need to do is provide very simple information. In addition, for independent contractors, sole proprietors, 1099 individuals, you do qualify for unemployment. This is a new thing that the EDD has done. The applications opened yesterday, the 28th at 5:30 a.m. So in essence, this is unemployment, but as an independent contractor, you do qualify. You should log on to the EDD portal, go through the application. The base amount is $167. That's the most you can get per week, but there's a 600 additional dollars allocated from the CARES Act. So you could be looking at about $700 a month through the PUA. It's called the PUA, Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. And again, if you're an independent contractor or a sole proprietor, which means that you filed your tax returns as a 1040 with a Schedule C, you qualify for unemployment, please log on and apply. Jonathan,
Are there any other grants or lending insights that you would recommend for people to look into?
Yes. So the city of Los Angeles has a microloan program. It was highly impacted when it came out. It was originally $11 million. It looks like they got an extra 18 million. So if you live within the city of Los Angeles and you have what's called a business tax registration certificate with the city of Los Angeles, then you qualify and you should apply. Excuse me. The county has a loan program as well. In order to qualify, you have to be in one of the unincorporated areas of LA County. So if you are in one of these, you should definitely apply. You can log on to their website to check for eligibility. There are a number of grant programs that have come out. Usually they're on a first come, first serve basis. There's very little notice, and the platforms crash pretty much, without a doubt, they will crash once the application goes live. And then it's just a matter, it's a waiting game or a luck game to see if you can manage to get your application through once, after the website is crashed. For women-owned businesses, there are a couple grant programs. One is called Alice for All. The other one is called the Red Backpack Fund, and I'm happy to send these to you, Jonathan, and maybe we can distribute to the attendees. These are merit-based, so they're not a first come, first served. They'll look at your application, they'll assess it, and then decide whether you qualify and you should get it, and then you'll get it. Those are $10,000 grants.
That's excellent. Thank you. And then Candace, maybe you can, I think there are a few questions that we have, Sebastian. It's been, I want to say our phones are lighting up, but it's really our chat is lighting up.
Chat is definitely.
Candace,
chat is definitely lighting up here. One of the questions that came in for EIDL, I thought it was forgivable for the first 10,000.
Yes.
It is, okay. And do you still need the past 6 months of revenue, not the past 2 quarters?
We don't know. It's what they're using or they're going to use at the moment. It's a conversation that you have with the case manager at the SBA to determine it. So I've seen some that were the loan amount was based on the second half of 2019. I've also seen some where the loan amount was based on 6 months prior to February 2020. So that's still not set in stone yet.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Another question. I received $1,000 in my bank account, but did not receive an email. Are you saying this first deposit is a grant?
It is a grant. It's yours. You don't have to pay it back. It's your money.
Great. And if you're a sole proprietor and you have part-time independent contractors that work for you, do they count toward your employees?
We don't have clarification on that. I'd use your best judgment on that. From what we've seen on the PPP, the employees have to be W-2 employees in order to count as employees. So, you know, I use that as a guideline. But again, I haven't seen any specific guidelines from the SBA on that.
Okay. And a couple questions. Folks want to know the website for the City of LA grant. Yeah, so I know folks are asking about that, the City of LA program.
In the deck, there will be a slide, though, that focuses on the City of LA alone, just as a reminder for what we had before.
Perfect, perfect. I think that might be it for you, Sebastian. I know one question did come up for Caesar, if I can just bring that one up. Does US Bank allow consultants to help people apply for loans?
We're going to work directly with the borrower, but if you do have a consultant that you're working with, I mean, you're welcome to do that. But you know, being that we're a direct lender, we must work directly with the client.
Okay. And one other question around nonprofits eligibility. Is there a minimum amount of employees required? Can a nonprofit apply for one employee? Yes.
There's no minimum requirement. As long as you have a W-2 employee, you're eligible for the loan.
Great. All right, I think that's it for now. And we'll be taking questions also at the end as well. So feel free to keep them coming.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you again, Sebastian. It was great. Great update. At this time, just wanted to remind you guys about as Sebastian brought up, the City of LA Small Business Microloan Program. This has more details around it. When we send out the updated deck, you should be able to see it, just kind of highlighted here within the deck. Next slide. And then we also have a link included also within the deck to the Resilience Toolkit for Los Angeles businesses. So that's something that's directly on the LA City website. So with that said, I'd like to turn it over to Armand Santos. And Armand's going to talk about what digital marketing might mean for your business during this COVID crisis and beyond. Thank you, Armand.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a share screen for you guys now. Let me see if it goes through. Okay, Michael, could you stop the other share because I can't share my screen right now. There we go. Thank you. Here we are. So I prepared this. This is a Prezi presentation for those who are familiar with it. Prezis are simply like 3D PowerPoints. Okay. So I'm Armand Santos. I'm the creative director for Diginet. And what I do is I help businesses to get online. A lot of instances have me helping businesses to establish businesses online from scratch. Okay. So let me walk you through what I want to go through today. I'm calling this opportunities in the time of coronavirus. So let's go ahead and start off. So this is Digital Entrepreneurship 101. It's important to understand the digital environment, okay? So the digital environment means a lot of things to many people. As Caesar brought up earlier, for your business, maybe it's a way to streamline your processes, okay? It could also be a platform for you to sell your goods and your services, okay? It could be a platform to share and consume information. It can also be a platform for just discourse, discussions, Okay, all those examples exist online. A lot of people use it as a platform to socialize and or entertain themselves. All of these are correct, but I believe that what the digital environment truly is, it's a platform that enables the creation of multiple streams of diversified income. Now let's talk about that for a second. A lot of business owners realize that in order to diversify their income, they have to have excess money to invest to diversify that income. And so that prevents a lot of people from actually going that route. And as we've seen now, this situation has really impacted, I mean, almost everybody across the board, but there are people out there who have established really robust online components that have let them escape this problem. I'm working with some of my clients. One of my clients, in fact, has seen a 30% increase in revenue during this time because of increased online traffic. So if you have something working for you that makes money from online traffic, then you're not going to be in as in dire straits as other people may be now. So let's talk about how that works online. There are 5 ways. There's 5 ways to monetize your digital platforms. There's untold numbers of online businesses, but every way that they earn online falls into one of these 5 categories. The first one, and I'm going to show you examples of this, so don't worry about that. The first one is advertising. Okay, a lot of businesses make money from advertising online, and advertising pays you for traffic. It's strictly based on page views. So in fact, let me share this with you. Actually, I'll share this after go after all of them. Let's go to the next one real quick so I can share this example. You have affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is the sale of products that are not your own. If anybody here uses Amazon, if you've ever been in an article online and there was a link to a product and it took you to Amazon, that person received, in essence, a commission for sending you there. And that commission was paid to them without having to charge you any more than you normally would have paid. That is, in essence, affiliate marketing. You've got sponsorship. Everyone is familiar with sponsorship. Sponsorship is advertising where you have direct connections to the advertiser. So if you're following somebody on Instagram and they are showing you a bag or a pair of shoes or any sort of product that they have indicated they're being sponsored to show you, that sponsorship might be the product itself, or it could be actual money. Of course, there's the obvious, the sale of your own products. So I have clients who sell athletic apparel online that they actually produce themselves. I also have that same client does exercise videos, okay? So if you're selling your own products online, that's also a revenue stream. And this final one is membership. There are websites out there that people pay to be members of. Not everybody ever achieves this, but this is kind of like the holy grail of online earning, because this is what is commonly referred to as mailbox money. Every month that membership renews and you get paid over and over again. Let me share with you an example of how this looks for an actual business. My phone is ringing. Let me show you how this looks. There we go. So what you're looking at here is an actual spreadsheet from an actual business. And I showed this to the board earlier, and we made some modifications so that I don't give away what it is that they're earning from or what they're paying out, but this is their cash in. These represent single months, okay? This is how an online business looks when it's growing. Okay, so all the 5 ways I talked about, if you look on the left column, advertising, affiliate marketing, the sale of your own product, membership, it's all here. Sponsorship is all on the left. And you can see month by month how much they earn from every category. This final month in this lineup, there it is, they brought in $95,000 online. And this company doesn't really spend, they don't really spend a lot of their time selling product. If you look at these, at the categories, only really 1 or 2 items is actual product that they sold. Most of this comes from advertising, $95,000. The month before that, it was 71,000. Before that was 52. This is how an online business looks in its growth phase. Okay, how much did they spend to make this? And here it is. I've taken out all the names of what they spent it on so that I keep their information private. But in that last month, they spent $28,000 to produce what they collected $95,000 for, netting them almost $67,000. Now, this includes payments to the 2 principals. This is a mom and pop shop. So included in their expense is $6,000 per month for each of them as salaries. So when I'm talking net, that is true net, okay? Now this income came from those 5 areas. So if you look at the list up top, there we go, let's look at here. This is what they collected from affiliate marketing. I can tell you that this affiliate marketing is from their Amazon account. $4,700 that month from affiliate marketing. Okay, and this information is older now. They're much, much larger than this. Okay, and this is all from traffic. Okay, so let me go ahead and minimize that and go back to the presentation. That site that spreadsheet that I just showed you, they make money in all those ways except for membership. They don't do membership. Okay. Now here we talked about marketing. So let's talk about the role of social media. A lot of people approach me and they believe that being online is all about social media. Social media is simply a tool in your toolkit. It is not actual marketing. It is just a medium to deliver your message. Okay. You have to understand the role of social media. It is a content distribution platform. Okay. It's not a standalone platform in itself. It needs to be combined with everything else in order to maximize your company's revenue. What you just saw on that spreadsheet is the result of a very well-built website combined with an extremely well-curated social media strategy that also deals with the mobile application. And what else do they run? Oh, and they also run our next thing we're going to talk about. They run a YouTube channel. Okay, their YouTube channel is designed to feed into everything else. It's not the end all be all. A lot of people want to be on YouTube because they've heard that there are people making millions of dollars there, and that is actually true. But that client that I just showed you makes more from their website than they make from their YouTube channel, a lot more. And there's reasons behind that, which I can't get so much into here, but YouTube is a powerful tool like everything else. It is not the end all be all of this. Okay. So question is, should you be doing YouTube if you want to do this? Yeah, you can move up to it. Some people start there, but it shouldn't be your sole focus. The focus really is about the content. Okay. So none of this happens without content. You have to put something out there that draws the views in. Even if you're selling product, like for example, if you want to have an online store, and let me show you one. There we go. So this is an example of a blog. It's Oprah's blog. Okay. And, people talk about ads as if they're a bad thing. Oprah is not too big to have ads. She has ads and they make her a lot of money. There's an ad on top. You see the home improvement thing on top there? And on the right side, there's a cotton blouse being advertised. These are all ads, okay? But let me show you a store. This one. No, not that one. This one, there we go. So this is an online store. This is from a food blog who happens to sell the different things that they use in the course of making their posts. All of these things, okay, are available via Amazon. Okay, hold on. Actually, hold on a second. One sec. The wrong slide. There we go. They're able to drive traffic to purchase these things because of the content that they create. It's not the products that bring people in, it's the content they create. So they create food blogs where they use these products. And in the usage of the products, they interest people in buying the products. So the person says, oh, I like that. Let me get this Instant Pot. They have so many articles about the Instant Pot. So when you click on the Instant Pot in their store, and obviously this looks like an online store, when you click on it, it takes you, where'd it go? There we go. You click on it, it takes you straight to Amazon to buy the Instant Pot. Okay. So there's a lot of ways to be online to earn. This looks like a store and it functions as a store, except they don't have to warehouse the Instant Pot. They don't have to deliver it to you. They don't have to invest in any inventory. Okay, they simply draw in the traffic. You like the Instant Pot, you buy it from Amazon, and Amazon gives them a percentage. That percentage varies anywhere between 4 and 10%, typically. Okay, but it's the traffic that brought you to their site. Their site brings people in because they post recipes pretty much twice a week. So they'll post this springy vegetable quiche recipe, and the traffic that this brings in presents ads that pay them, gives their viewers a chance to peruse their shop for affiliate marketing. And in fact, this might even be sponsored. I don't know if it is or not. Yes, it is. This recipe is sponsored by Aldi. There it is right there. Okay. So this one page allows for 3 separate forms of monetization for them. Okay. As easy as that. Okay. If you look at this other one, let's see this one. This one here, Melissa Vale. Melissa Vale is a realtor. Okay. Melissa Vale decided she wanted to pivot and create some additional income for herself. So she took, when you sell real estate, it's all about the lifestyle. She decided to make a website based around the lifestyle. And now in this particular blog, she's showing us, what is she showing us? My top spring jewelry essentials for any budget. Okay, that's what she does. So she drives traffic in there, and these people who go to her site end up becoming her clients in real estate. She's a New Yorker, and so she likes to present that New York lifestyle. She shows you the product, and you see these 2 things here. She shows you if you want to splurge, this is the expensive one. If you want to steal, here's the cheap one. And when you click on either one of them, it takes you to an affiliate link to purchase it, and she gets paid for your purchase. There we go. Innovative, costs her nothing. Okay, so by having a lifestyle site, she's getting herself in front of all these people who know her as a realtor, and she's keeping top of mind, and she's able to take all the same stuff. And if you look at her Instagram, it's pretty good too. Oh, I can't escape her products. Come on, get out of there. There we go. So there she is. If you look on the right side there, she introduces herself. She's with Douglas Elliman. Douglas Elliman agent on weekdays, fashion and travel blogger on weekends, and a true New Yorker. Okay, she's having fun with her online presence, and is earning her money. If you look at her Instagram, and Instagram, like I said before, is a tool in your toolbox. She uses her Instagram, which I'm bringing up right now, where she has 203,000 followers, to show her fun lifestyle and draw people back. So each post is actually designed to draw people back to her website. There we go. So all of these are tools that these people use to drive people back to their sites. And so they all work together to create income for them. Okay, let me show another couple more examples of people, just so you see maybe some of these people look like you in terms of what they do. Here's Liberty Chan. I know her personally. She's a weathercaster. She's a news lady, actually a weather lady. She's into all sorts of things. And so this is her own website, which focuses on her love for her job and also her love for things that deal with travel, fashion, wellness, and other things that she likes. Okay, and she also makes money from affiliate links from products. She's actually doing a whole line of masks right now. Here's one that people probably will recognize. This is Goop. Goop is one of the biggest online stores and affiliate link sites that exists. Okay, people think of it as a wellness site, but what it really is, it's a money-making machine that uses affiliate marketing links to earn. And of course, there's Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins has a really, really well done blog section, and people visit his site because of the articles that he creates. Where are they? There we go. Here's mastering every area of your life. Yeah, he does a lot here. There he goes. Here's his blog, and he gives all sorts of advice in all different areas. And it drives traffic to his site, which he monetizes via his products. He sells a lot of digital products. Okay, so those are examples of sites that are making monies in the ways that I've shown you, and they all draw their traffic because of digital content. I refer to it as the gravity of digital content, because the more content that you create, as it piles up, the bigger your traffic gets. It's like Wayman. It really is the mass of the content equals the gravity of it. So the key that everyone that I've shown you, the key to them driving massive amounts of traffic is they post consistent content. And when I say consistent, Pinch of Yum posts content twice per week on their blog, and they post content once per day on Instagram, and they post content probably once per week on YouTube. Okay, but they built their way up to that. Next up, we have this. How can I use this information? Okay, this is important. Everybody's situation is different. I can speak to certain ones that I'm familiar with. Like, for example, I've owned restaurants, and I was a restaurant consultant in Asia for quite a while. And I can tell you that as a restaurant owner right now, I would look to create a food-based blog like the one that I just showed you. Okay, that food-based blog that I just showed you it nets 6 figures per month. Okay, on an initial investment of about $400. Okay, there's very, very few things that you can do that have this kind of potential. Okay, that's what I would do if I was a restaurant. I would create food-based content because I'm going to make it anyway, and I would monetize that traffic. If I was a realtor, I would do exactly what Melissa Vail was just doing. I would focus on lifestyle. We live in California, and the traffic that you get to your blog that's going to pay you is going to come from all over the country, all over the world. People like to see what we're doing out here in California. So I would take advantage of that. Like she takes advantage of what's happening in New York. People also like New York. So that's what she's doing. Other areas, I mean, you could look at areas that interest you. You could look at areas that you think have potential for traffic. But you have to look at your individual businesses and see how this fits your situation. There's a lot of creative ways that you can take that will make your business fit easily into the space. Now, my Q&A part, so there's a couple basic questions I would like to answer for you guys before we get into any real questions. Is number one, people always ask, is it too late for me to get online? The internet's a crowded place. Is there room online for what I would like to do? And the answer to that's really simple. Yes, the internet, it's not really anywhere near as crowded as you think it is. It's still the Wild West of the internet out there. Most of the world's not online yet. Okay. And even if they were, I mean, there's infinite room for the same concept online. You can't have 2 restaurants in real life next to each other. It just doesn't work because a person can't be in 2 places at once. But online, you can look up a mac and cheese recipe and go to 5 sites in about 20 seconds looking for the one that fits what you want. All those sites you went to got paid for your visit. Okay, there's infinite room for all sorts of concepts. Some of the biggest ideas coming out right now, the sites that are growing the fastest, are simply just copies of other sites. When I say copy, it's not like literal copies, but they're people who saw a site that they liked and made their own version of it with their own twist and almost pretty much just swapped out the words and the pictures, and there you have it. And they're making money. Okay, it's not. The internet actually doesn't really, it's funny, it doesn't really reward original thought. It rewards people who pay attention to what the market wants. That's really what it's all about there, okay? Now, another question is, I'm not a techie, can I really do this? And it doesn't take much to do this. The information that you need to know, it's available. This is what I provide as well, but I'm not really a techie myself. Okay, but I do understand how business works, and I adapt it to what the online environment. And the biggest question is, how much do I need to be prepared to invest in my business to get it online? That really depends on what you want to do online. Okay, that website Pinch of Yum started off with way under $500, right? And they've grown into a 6-figure per month business. Okay, it took them about 2 years before they were making enough to quit their jobs to do this full time. But 5 to 7 years down the road, they're at 6 figures already. So you really can't beat that. What other kind of business can get you there that fast with that kind of investment? At the same time, a business can invest millions to be online. I've seen people create proprietary sites that do all sorts of crazy things, but that's not what I'm really talking about here. I'm talking about the simplistic versions. So realistically, you can get online from anywhere between, let's say, $350 to $500, and in a realistic situation, up to maybe 4,000. Depends on what you want to do. But with that, I believe I can now open it up to questions. Let me stop my share.
Thank you for that presentation, Armand. Candace, what are we seeing in terms of questions from the audience? I think you're on mute.
She's on mute.
Yes, I was on mute. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Can you share ways one can generate revenue podcasting?
Oh, yes. Okay. Podcasting is one of the greatest things. Okay. So what you're looking at behind me is the podcasting set. Okay. I produce podcasts for clients. podcasts are awesome. Anything that creates content is awesome. You can take a podcast. So let's say you produce a podcast, you can take that, you can stream it live, and you can earn live money from streaming platforms that do allow with donations. You can take that same oops, what just happened? Oh, there we go. You can take that same stream podcast in its recorded version and put it on YouTube in order to draw in traffic that way and benefit off the huge audience that's there. And you can embed it in your website to have that as content to draw traffic. You can also transcribe certain parts of it into a written blog. So that one piece of content can create multiple content types that you can monetize them all. The way that they're monetized is when people come to watch it, that visit generates money from depending on how you want to do it. It can generate advertising revenue. Once your advertising revenue is up and your visits are up, you can have sponsor revenue. But yeah, that's a good question. I mean, if you want to make a podcast, it's an excellent way to get started in this. And you can grow that to all the 5 revenue types. But yeah, that's how I'd make money from podcast.
Great, thank you. Let's see, I think that's it. One question came up, not too sure. How would you recommend a small business starting this avenue? That one I'm not too clear on. I'm not sure if they mean if you're a small business and you want to pivot in a particular direction, how would you go about doing that? What's the first step that you would?
So the big thing is keep an open mind. A lot of businesses are looking at this and they're trying to find a way that this fits into their business. What you want to do is you want to try to find a way to pivot your business to fit into that environment. So let's say, maybe that person who put that question in, if you're out there, can you write down what kind of business you're currently in?
And he also followed up avenue of new cash flow. But yeah, I think to your point, it's still just, Douglas.
Yeah, they like to know how to get started. Yeah, getting started in this, it takes me, one great way is to have a pod. So let's say that you've never done anything online before. Let's say your business is 100% brick and mortar. You could try to find something about your business that you can create posts about. If I had a brick and mortar shoe store, I might do product reviews. If I had a brick and mortar, the technology-based store, like for example, like a Best Buy type thing, or small, of course, smaller, I would do tech reviews. If I had a restaurant, I would post food blogs. But basically, you have to find something you can create content about, and then create a portion of your site if you have one already that you can post it to. So you'd create a blog section. You'd post blogs on there regularly, and you'd promote them to draw traffic. Okay. After a period of time of drawing traffic, when you have enough traffic, you'll be approached by sponsors. From the get-go, you can have advertising. Okay. You can have affiliate marketing from the very beginning. I'll say this, the information that I've given you guys today is probably going to create more questions than answers I provided, because there's a lot that you can do with it. There's so many different roads you can take. But yeah, find a way that you can create content and open up a part of your site to post it on. Create a blog on your site and start posting content to drive that traffic. And then, you pivot that to react to how your audience reacts to it. But yeah, from the very beginning, you can have affiliate marketing stores online. You can have monetized traffic based on advertising. Those are the two most common ways to start making money. Okay, and then eventually sponsorship will pop up.
Great. Thanks, Armand. Let's see. I think that
did they ever pop in and say what kind of business they were in?
Let me see here. He runs an online reputation and marketing management business. So he helps people do what you're saying, basically.
Okay.
And he's hoping to get more information for people to understand.
The online reputation marketing. Okay. Yes, I believe that what they do is they help. It's been an issue recently. People's online presences preventing them from getting jobs. That's what a lot of those people who are in that field they do. They scrub through and make sure that when people look up online, what's coming up is good. Yeah, it'll take some thought, but yeah, I'd have to think about how that would fit with them. But I believe that my outline for this presentation is going to be provided in the packet you guys get. So all the different points will be there with all the examples of the sites. And of course, my email is there if you want to contact me regarding your own situations, you can.
Thanks, Armand. A few more questions have come in. I would like to work remotely. Any sites for those types of employees?
Okay, so you're looking for your utility site. So depending on what you want to do, I mean, working remotely, most of the time your companies will provide you the utilities to go through. I'm not sure exactly what that would mean if you would like to work remotely and you're working for a company, like for example, I consult for the LECCD. And so the colleges actually, to work remotely, you work through their systems. Like out here in the Antelope Valley district, Antelope Valley College, the people on that campus are working remotely through their proprietary systems. So the colleges in those cases provided the platforms to work through. I'm not sure what other ways that you can do it directly. Do you mean you want to start a home business? Is that what you want? Is that what they're asking maybe?
You know, I'm not sure. Ed, if you can just clarify that question, that would be great, and we can certainly follow up. In the meantime, another one came up. Do you consult for small businesses that want to enter in that space?
Yes, we do. I mean, I'm creating a version of this that's more budget friendly, because consulting for a business can get pretty, it could get very deep. But I'm creating a version of this where all of the things that I tell my clients are going to be provided in the form of video, and so people will be able to subscribe to view different topics and to use it as a learning library. But definitely, if you would like to talk about the potential for consultation, I think my email is going to be in the handout.
Yep, it absolutely is. A couple more questions. How would you recommend a financial literacy business such as credit restoration?
What was that again?
How would you recommend a financial literacy business such as credit restoration?
Oh, that's a great one. Okay, so that's a topic that people are always looking for. Financial literacy is a big thing. So you can create posts about all sorts of topics. I actually have a client that does that, and they create posts around all sorts. Like one of the posts that they created was revolving around getting people to understand how interest worked. So every little topic that deals with financial literacy, you can create a separate blog post around that. And those posts will draw traffic to your site, and that traffic is what will pay you. So let me really be really clear. The way that I'm showing you to make money relies on driving online traffic. So if you can present any valuable information that people will want to read about, you will draw traffic. Okay, and I've seen people draw traffic, all sorts of things. DIY sites show you how. I've seen sites that draw traffic explaining how engines work in cars. I see a question here from, is Ed Tellis. He has a technical background in engineering, and he's done technical writing. Oh yeah, I've seen people create, you can easily write up papers, but the thing is you have to make sure that people are looking for the info, right? So I've seen people do wiring diagram work online for how to rewire cars, and people go there for that. I've seen people create posts about how to make mac and cheese sandwiches. I've seen people creating posts about all sorts. What was that? What was our last person talking about? What was their business type? The last one again?
Oh, goodness, it escaped me.
As long as you're creating something, financial literacy. Okay, that's a great one, because the topics that you have access to are endless, and a lot of people are interested in that. So as long as you're creating stuff that educates people on something that they would like to learn about, you can draw the traffic, and the traffic will in turn yield revenue for you. And that's the most important part. I have a lot of clients who come to us, they have ideas for what they want to do online, but the ideas that they want to pursue don't have a very big audience. Mm-hmm. And so you have to ask yourself that question, why you want to be online. Are you there for the passion of what you're trying to produce, or are you there for, to create a thriving business itself? So yeah, that's the big question. So if what you would like to produce has an audience to consume it, the sky's the limit online.
Great. Thank you. Two more quick questions have come
yes.
in. I have a video production company. What is the best way to target certain industries to create content now and create value?
Okay, that's great. Okay, so there's a lot of people. So the budget thing, there's a lot of people who want to be online who can really afford bigger budgets. I would try to market towards them. What you can do, I'll give you a name. Look him up in social media and on YouTube. He's called King Batch. What King Batch is he's a actor, writer, producer, director. Okay, he was a Vine star earlier on, and he's actually been in a few projects you probably will know. He was in the Mindy Project. He was a regular on that show. And what King Batch does is he actually produces short film that he posts on YouTube and on his site in order to act as his sizzle reel, as his resume for people to see what he can do. Okay, so he has the time. He produces some content, and that's how people look at what he has to offer. You can do the same thing. You can produce some interesting content and then approach people online to take their games up, because there's people out there who can afford. In fact, I have a couple of clients who could probably use your services, because I consult in those areas. I do not produce video for people. So yeah, they can take their game up. So if they're just blogging right now, they can get into vlogging, and you can help them in that area. Do you guys ever produce videos for people on YouTube?
We'll have to see, Angela, if you can type that in, and we can certainly connect you with Armand so that you can get some additional information for sure.
She's saying
not YouTube.
What's that?
Not YouTube.
Yeah, there's a way to produce for YouTube that enhances views. There's a lot of things to know about that, but it's actually pretty simple. And here's the funny part for your business that makes it a lot easier. Online video production that drives more traffic is more rough and raw. The audience that you're targeting online is looking for something that they think that they can produce themselves. So if you produce content that's too slick and polished, they think it's beyond them and they tune out. And here's the funny part. The Rock recently, when I say recently, within the past 3 years, decided to create his online presence. So The Rock wanted to dominate YouTube in the same way that he has dominated Hollywood. In the same time frame, another person went onto YouTube. He's called Logan Paul. The Rock is the biggest movie star in the world. Logan Paul was like a 21-year-old kid from Ohio. In the same time frame that it took The Rock to assemble, I think it was 2 million subscribers on YouTube, Logan Paul passed 12 million. He's a nobody, and he went bigger on YouTube than The Rock did, simply because his videos were raw and natural and authentic looking, whereas The Rock actually created a production team to make, he created $7 Studios or $7 Productions to handle all of his online presence, and it backfired. So if you are going to create online video, the more authentically choppy and homemade it looks, the better, believe it or not. So it's going to make it easy for your process.
That's great. Thanks, Armand. 2 more questions came in. What's the process for getting Amazon to participate in an affiliate product line?
Easy. That's a really easy one. Okay. And that's where I think everybody should start. Actually, the first place you should start is you should open up a site. You should have your own website, because it is the gateway to all of this. In order to have an affiliate marketing contract to Amazon, you have to have a website. So establish your website, put enough content on it so that when they review it, they'll approve you. And they'll approve almost anybody with a standard, well-built site. And all you've got to do, once your site is built, go to Amazon, scroll down to the very bottom of the page, and there will be a link to their affiliate program. Click on that, fill out the application, and they will approve you. But almost immediately, you should list some products that you buy, because if you go a certain period of time without a purchase in the beginning, so you have to have a purchase within a certain amount of time. I think it's a few weeks. They'll cancel your contract if you don't have that. So go on to Amazon, create your contract, create your contract, do a listing on your site for a product that you will consume, and buy it yourself. And then you'll be able to maintain your account. But it's really, really easy, and it's free.
That's great. Another question, should we consider making videos to present content such as how to maintain your haircut during quarantine?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, video production and podcast production is the easy way towards having content. a lot of people, especially younger people, and I don't want to knock younger people, but this is true, have a hard time writing. Give a person a blank screen or a blank sheet of paper and they just struggle with writing. But give them a phone and say to record something, and there you go, right? Once you've recorded that, you can now take that and transcribe it as written content if you would like, and I recommend. Stuff like that has an audience, and it's very timely. And it's an easy way to jumpstart your content creation process. For sure, yeah, that's a kind of video I would definitely say you should make.
Wonderful. Thank you. I think that's it. Those are the questions that came in.
Great, Candace. And thank you again to all of the panelists, Armand, Cesar, Sebastian. This is very informative, and just want to say thank you. And any other final comments, Michael Lawson, that you'd like to make? Or
No, I just want to thank all the panelists. This was a very informative session, and I think we've all learned so much from this one. I look forward to future webinars in the future. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Thank you very much, Candace, and all the panelists. And if there are any additional questions, please do not hesitate to send them in. I think that there's and all this information is available after. I guess, Jonathan, you will talk about how people can get access to this information later on. But thank you very much again.
Yep. So before we end, there is one more question. Candace, do you want to ask the question to Sebastian? I think Sebastian, before we end.
For the EIDL, what is and/or was the time frame for the 10,000 advancement? I did apply, but received no response or notice. Any thoughts? I believe this may have been answered, but I may have missed it. And thank you to the moderators.
Douglas, there's no way to know. We have not been able to figure out the logic by which this process is functioning. Again, one day you'll wake up and you'll see it there before any email, before anything else. So hopefully this will be soon.
Great. Thank you, Sebastian.
Thank you, Sebastian.
And thank you, everyone, for all the great questions.
Great. So after this, you should receive a feedback form, provide feedback on this webinar, and we will send you out the deck from this. And then there might be some follow-on materials that we'll send over the next few days as well, along with the replay. So stay tuned for that. And again, thank you for your participation on this this webcast.
Excellent, John. Thank you for having me.
Excellent.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.